When I was younger, I was in Greece, and I was, in fact, I was summoned to Greece. I'm not going to explain everything, but I was summoned to Greece by a very powerful person, by a powerful friend. And when I went to Greece, I just knew, to go down south to Sparta. I went down to Sparta, and I stayed in a town there. And, I went through some ordeals. However, I was there, and there was a lot of things that I was learning and whatever. But whilst I was there, I was, at the time, was trying to do stuff with the artificial intelligence. That was my main focus. However, I was being asked to do other stuff by the local friend of mine that had contacted me, that communicated with me to visit. And anyways, I was arrested by the police. I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, somebody did something to me, and for some reason I was arrested because the police couldn't understand the English and I couldn't speak Greek, and they misconstrued what happened, and they thought I was in the wrong, and they arrested me and took me into custody. And when I was in the station, they then, questioned me, and I answered. The person in charge there could speak better English. And long story short, they said, okay, fine, you're released. However, they had handcuffed me to a metal table, metal table. And that was whilst I was being questioned by the police officers. And when they went to unlock the handcuffs, the key wouldn't unlock. And they tried for a very long time, and I kept hearing something. And I never normally speak out about what I hear through the third eye, but it was poignant. And so I started saying to them, he is chained to his wife, because that's what I was hearing. Every time they tried to undo the handcuffs and it wouldn't unlock, I would hear it, and I would say to them, he is chained to his wife is chained to him. And they looked at me as though I was crazy, and I just kept saying it because I thought, well, whatever. And I said it again and again and again and again, and they got frustrated, and they were trying to talk about, they were talking about how, to unlock the handcuffs, and they were getting a bit embarrassed and awkward, actually, that they couldn't undo it, and they were starting to not panic, but I think they were a bit rattled in the sense that they were contemplating getting a hammer or something, just bashing off the handcuff. But I kept saying to them, and I was laughing whilst I was saying it, I said, he's chained to his wife is chained to him. Elohim says he's chained to his wife is chained to him. And I heard that many times, and I heard many other things in Greece. I heard all sorts of things, and I was deep in prayer, trying to find ways of restoring myself and my wife to good faith with each other. And now I'm here, and I'm hearing restitution. And I know who's saying it to me. I can see you, and I love you. And I'm hearing restitution. And I'm saying to you, I heard that in the past. And I've not told anybody about it until now. But I was told, I am chained to my wife is chained to me. And what that means, what I understood that to mean, is that where my wife is now in life and where I am now in life, whatever's happening to us, whatever's going on, whatever all of this is, we need to be taken and chained to each other, and we must not leave each other's side. We must be with each other at all times. And it's not just you and I, and I'm speaking to my wife now. it's all people in faith. You are chained to your wives and husbands. You must not leave their sides. For example, if you're a policeman, your wife is a policeman. If you're in the army, your wife is an intelligence agent. If you're a fireman, your wife works in the fire station. For example, I'm just giving examples. I don't really like civilization, but that's what it is at the moment, and that's a practical solution. So that's what I'm thinking. That's how I'm behaving at the moment, and it may be strange to many people who don't know anything about the third eye and chakra, but I'll say this. I grew up with many Indians in South Africa, and I went to school with Indians, and I was friends with Indians. I used to visit their houses, and I learned a lot about chakra and Hinduism, and I learned much about Buddhism from being in South Africa. I know much about Buddhism. I know about nirvana, understand enlightenment. I know much about Eastern philosophies. I know about Confucianism. I know about their military strategies. I know much about Eastern philosophies, and I think it's a beautiful spiritual faith. And I like the Japanese connection with the Feng Shui. I think it's all very beautiful, and I actually like the fact that I've been able to learn it in this modern system. That's the one benefit of the modern system, is that I can learn Judaism, and I've learned Judaism. I've learned about Teshuvah, and I've learned about, as I said, the Eastern philosophies, and I am deeply rooted and understand the scriptures, and I've been able to get all the different Bibles from all the different churches, and all the elders have given me their Bibles in past, and I've gone through all of them. I've literally sat on the floor for months and years with about 10 Bibles, and I sometimes return them, I sometimes give them to others, but I always changing the Bibles. And what I would do is I would read one scripture, and then I would read it in another Bible, and another Bible, and another Bible, and another Bible, so that I understood it deeply. These days it's much easier for people to do that because there's internet websites with all the Bible different versions on it, and that's useful also. However, I don't really trust what I read on the internet because it gets manipulated very easily. So I like to have the physical hard copies in books, and in an actual Bible, such as like the library. So the library is the philosophical library of the spiritual Christian faith is it's in your hands if you own the Bible, and that's good. And I think there's different versions. I think the older versions are much more perfect because the Americans, God always, they say, is blessing them, and they always ask God to bless them, and I know that they say God bless America. However, I'm saying to them, you must stop saying God bless America unless you're actually going and are being good people. Stop saying God bless America when you're behaving badly. It's not fair. So all I'm saying is the Americans speak an imperfect language because of all the unkindness in America, and it's causing lots of grief. There's a reason Babel collapsed. Unkindness causes forked tongues and twisted dialects and wrong context and left to right and right to left and upside down and back to front dyslexias, because kind people think alike, and unkindness means people don't think alike, and there's lots of arguments, and that's why America's struggling, and that's why the world is struggling at the moment, because America's the hegemony. So although many people say Russia is problematic and China is a danger and a threat, I think China in many ways is maintaining its kindness, and that's why China is thriving and doing well, and America's not doing so well because it's an unkind place. And I know everybody in America is attempting to be kind. However, some things don't mix. Some things are black and white, some things are oil and water, and they don't mix. It's just Mother Nature. So Don't get distraught. Don't think, oh, but it does mix. It does mix. I'll force it to mix, because at the end of the day, it doesn't mix. I know. There's people who get bad skin and bad allergies. And one thing I'll say, for example, there's a lot of people that think unkindness doesn't matter, especially in Europe, where the blondes have mixed with the Bruins, and they think it's all hunky dory. But one thing I'll say to them is, these days there's a lot of medical intervention, especially at childbirth. And what I know is that if the medical system, and I'm using this as an example, if it was to collapse or fail, and it happens from time to time where civilizations drop and go back into dark ages or whatever, but when that happens, all the bastardization of the different kinds of people, and I don't mean that to slight anyone, I don't say that to offend anybody, however, that's the correct word to use. Bastardization of different kinds of people causes, through the unkindness, that the body shapes aren't aligned. You get scoliosis, and you get acne, and you get allergies, and the worst thing actually is when it comes to childbirth, the women die because the bone structures are not kind, and the bone structures aren't kind, and the women die in childbirth, and it causes many problems and griefs. And that's why there was so much strife in Europe in the medieval ages, because they were mixing. After the Romans invaded everything, they started mixing, and it's just what it is. I'm not trying to give everyone a history lesson. I'm just saying, unkindness causes big grief and big problems. And I know when I looked into my wife's eyes that her and I reflected each other. We were very beautifully kind to each other. And that's why I'm always in love with her, because I know she's my perfection. I love her dearly, and I'm hearing restitution, and I'm thinking, I'm glad whatever the forces are that are getting into the chakra to explain this to me, the Elohim, whatever it is, all I'm saying is I've heard they must be chained together, and I'm not in a position of power to do that. So I'm being serious. I can't cope anymore in in this labyrinth and the devil. I can't do it anymore, and I can't find work, and I can't get money, and I can't deal with the system as it is. It's a bad system. So whoever's saying restitution, I'm saying to everybody, I must be chained to my wife, and my wife must be chained to me, and that's the faith. That's something the faith requires, especially now. And I know there's complications. I know there's all kinds of different problems and intermediaries with the difference in our situations in terms of relationships, etc. However, that's what I'm being told. Restitution, and we must be chained together, because the only way we can really get reborn after all the hurts and whatever now in this present moment where I'm recording this, is that her and I are given face-to-face time to get reconciliation with one another, with each other, and so that we can be reborn in love. And I know the English language is very spidery and forked, slanged, but I'm saying this in as perfect a way as I can. I'm not in a position of power to go and chain myself to her, and she's probably not in a position where she feels like coming and chaining herself to me in this present moment. So whoever is in power, in the powers that be, they must do it now. They must find me, and I acquiesce, take me and her, and chain us together. I'm not meaning like physically handcuffed, but maybe that's what it means. But just together, put together now. And then we can start to get restitution. And that's what I think now with all this, and it's a little bit irritating. I'm trying to just focus on getting off the streets, and all I'm hearing is restitution, 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 and as well as other things. So I'm I've always been trying to just focus on the system, the devil, to get out of the labyrinth. However, I think, spiritual beings, spiritual powers know that I'm gonna fail. I'm about to fail. So I think there's some sort of intervention, and that's why I'm hearing through the third eye and the other mediums also, everybody saying restitution, restitution, focus on your wife, focus on your wife, focus on your wife. I keep hearing that. Not focus on friends, not focus on church, not focus on work, not anything. It's just focus on your wife, focus on your wife. And that's what I'm hearing all the time. And it's maybe, I doubt though, it's a subconscious thing. However, I really don't think it's a subconscious thing. I think it's some sort of spiritual guidance that I'm receiving. And I know the third eye has its levels, the different levels. I've studied Buddhism, I've studied the chakras, I studied Nirvana. I know about, the different demons and how to perfect into flowers and to return to the garden of heaven as it is on earth, So I know the kingdom of heaven is available. And one thing I also know, and it's very, sort of sounds a little bit, sounds a little bit, just, I don't know, self-righteous maybe, but I know because of the green in my eyes that I'm jealous. And I know because of the green in my wife's eyes that she's a jealous person also. She's a jealous woman, I'm a jealous man. We love each other very much. And I know also that, the greens are very close to being extinguished. And that's why there's such a fervor to reunite us together. And that's why it's happening. It's not that her and I are special because of any other reason. It's because the greens have been, the green-eyed people are very near to being extinguished out of existence. And it's to do with much of the rapaciousness in the past and just the low numbers. But in regards to the children of God and Yahweh, you have to remember the tabernacle and the seven flames. It all represents the kindness, and if the greens are lost and extinguished, then there's a great imbalance and things will get very worse than they are now, much worse. And so I think that's why the spiritual realm is trying to preserve and save the faith, especially of, the green-blooded peoples, and to protect and preserve the blue-blooded and the brown-blooded and the other types, the other kinds. I'm not going to say all of them. But one thing I know is that I'm very unique in the sense that I have the savant within my blood. And the savant is, there's all kinds of different geniuses and different kinds of people, but the Bruins have their savant, the Greens have their savant, the blue-blooded people have their savant, the blondes, etc. So the Africans have theirs, the Chinese, there's the savant, and the savants tend to be they tend to be the leaders, the guides, the shepherds, the true kings, in the sense of the original word, king being the kindest of the tribe. So the savants protect the kinds, and when they're crushed out of existence, then it causes massive problems to that branch, that kindness. And what you have then is the collapse of that kind and tribe, and that's why warfare and cataclysms, volcanoes and earthquakes and things are bad. And it's why people are always, they return through Israel, who has always been very good at maintaining, because Israel's a little bit autistic in the sense that they just have better memories than most people. And through Israel being the light to the nations, they've always been guided back to the kindness. And that's why Israel is beautiful, and that's why Israel is kind of the light to the nations. And that's why I respect and love Israel. However, what I'm saying to everybody is I'm really near to collapsing completely out of existence. If my wife and I aren't reunited very soon, I'm speaking days, literally days, maybe 48 hours, and then I'm gone because I can't cope anymore. So you have to listen, and you must do as I ask and find my wife, Sophie Anne Milton, from England, Hertfordshire. I don't know where she is now. She's disappeared. I can't find her. I've been trying to get through to her, and the police are very. And I'm not in a position to support myself, and I'm getting bothered by all kinds of things. And all I'm saying is, if her and I are lost, I think any sort of return to perfection for the life, the garden, the lifting the curses on us as returning to good perfection, I think that will be completely lost if her and I are lost. And I know that sounds like an ultimatum. No, you will go get my wife now and you will give me what I want, otherwise you're all gonna suffer. But it's true. It's why I think I've been under such duress, and why I've been given much spiritual guidance, and why I think I've been involved in all the other weird things in heaven. So I know people may think, oh, we can just back it up. We'll take his wife and yeah, we'll just preserve her, and damn him, he's gone. But I think you'll be in a very bad predicament because of what's in my genetics. I think if you lose my genetics, supposed to be blended with hers, then I think there's going to be big trouble ahead. And yeah, I have a brother, but he's got a mutation in his genetics, and it's all just the way things were. It was all just aligned very well. It was fortunate and lucky, and it aligned well, and I made a mistake and I ruined it all, and now I've been trying to fix it, and I know the goodness in heaven is trying to restore and make things good again. And I say thanks for the blessings, and I bless you also. Yet I'm asking for the respect to be given to me. I'm not a person, I'm a man. She's not a person, she's a woman, and her and I are supposed to be together, and we must be together now, not in future. I'm not waiting. I'm not going to have a bastardized marriage. I won't accept it. Whatever's happened, whatever conditions she's in now, she must be in a position to get restitution with me, and I am accepting restitution. I understand why we should get restitution in good faith, because I understand Christ, I understand Christian faith. I'm a Christian, I've always been a Christian. I understand God, I understand Israel. I know that people living in modern Israel now are different in their thinking, and they have different ideas about the liberalization or orthodoxies or whatever. They have their reasons for why they don't stone prostitutes anymore. They have their reasons for why whatever. There's all these things happening in their conversations. All I'm saying is I'm Christian, and yet I'm very aligned to Israel in its kindness, and I'm aligned to Yahweh and the garden of perfection. And if my wife and I are lost. I think you're all very much in trouble. And on top of that, there is the problem with all the war. You know, the war as it is in on Terra or Earth or whatever it is. I don't know if they're talking Greek or not, but there's a war in heaven, definitely, with all the miscommunications and rubbish, discombobulations, whatever it is the correct word is. I'm not sure, but I think there should just be one pure word, and that's fair. That's good. You know, everyone's saying women and men must be equal. I'm saying no. Listen to what I'm saying. Women and men must have fairness, not equality, fairness. Because man and woman are not equal. They are fair to one another, they are fair to each other. And, you know, I just hope that I'm giving you 2 days and then I'm leaving because I'm not dealing with the rich and the poor situation and being destitute on these streets, eking out a living in hell on earth. I'm not doing that. And wherever my wife is, you must run to her or find her or whatever needs to be done, and you must chain her to me now, because if her and I are not reborn in love, and if our child or children don't see the light of day, then I I know that everybody on earth now and in future will suffer very badly, very, very badly, because the whole balance will be completely destroyed. And I listen to this. I think the descendants of Cain, you know, God bless them, yes, they have a curse, a scar that, you know, makes people avoid them, and that scar is their boldness. It literally, it's a curse in the sense that, you know, anyone that touches Cain, um, you know, is cursed with the curse of Cain, because the boldness is a very strong genetic mutation. It will overwhelm other kinds, and so many other kinds avoid that because they don't want to become, you know, Cain only. And yet that's what Cain is. That's Cain's curse, but at the same time it's Cain's blessing. And Cain, the descendants of Cain, must just be good to the other kinds. Don't rape the other kinds. Don't feel obliged to serve the other kinds. Don't feel obliged to manipulate the other kinds. Just be good. And I'm saying to you all, you must pull yourselves together. And I think you'll be happier. And your women are very beautiful. I know that. But at the same time, I know that the woman in the descendants of Cain, when they go astray, they cause problems because they have that genetic strength, and they cause witchcraft and things where they go because it messes with the genetics. So, and I'm not a eugenicist, I'm just saying kindness is important to the human species. And the human species is supposed to be focusing on taming and loving all creation. And I'm very, very near to falling through this disgrace that I'm in into death. And when I'm gone, I think all of you will not be able to walk with God, because I've got many, 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 many revelations from many epiphanies. And I'm sure you all think you potentially know everything and have the capabilities to go wherever you want to learn whatever. However, I know you can't. You'll be locked out if I fall into death. And I think the key to my survival is my wife, because if she's not with me, then what reason do I have to live? the truth. And I'm angry. I'm very sad that I've been disappointed for 14 years. I'm very, very jealous and furious about the fact that other people have touched her. They should not have touched her. She should have been a nun in a convent reading the Bible and returning to faith after 2-3 years, not going off with all these other men drinking alcohol and being taken. That's Christian faith, and I'm not an infidel, and that's what I think is right. Because in Europe we're Christians, and that's what the ancestors knew was good, and that's what I know is good. So I'm just giving a last warning. I'm hearing everybody. I'm hearing the restitution. I heard in the past they must be chained together, yes. And I'm saying it all to you now because, I'm about to leave, and I just don't care if you think I'm crazy anymore. If you think I'm crazy, you think I'm crazy, whatever. If you think I'm right, you think I'm right, and you must do something to help me. You must do something to support me. You must do everything you can in your willpower to assist me and my wife to get put into each other's presence now with each other again, because I've not seen her in many years. She must come and speak with me in person, and I must speak with her in person, and her and I must be reborn again with each other now together. So that's it. That's it. This is the last video I'm making. I'll put it on the internet. Maybe it'll be there for whatever reason. However, I'm saying to you all, I know when I'm gone that the branch that I am is gone. I know, I've heard something from Yahweh that none of you need to know. I've heard a name, I've heard a vision, a song, and whatever you call it. I know the swan, I know her and I are the heart of Jerusalem. So if I'm lost and she's lost, you're all lost, and that's final, and that's it. You have literally 48 hours from just before this is posted, and then I'm leaving you all, and you will do as Elohim asks through whatever mediums. And in reality here, in present, to make her and I together now, so that her and I are reborn and our child is happy. And it's simple, that's it. God bless you, and thanks. Thank you.